Hey everyone, welcome to season 5, week 2 Premier League. We've got myself, Trash Panda, and Jolly. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jolly. I'm here for some nice Catan.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about this game. So we've got Eric, who's E-Box, we call him as well. We got bjaki, catanyouheerme, also known as Kyle, and obviously Honie, who, if anyone watched last season's finals, Honie was in the finals last season.
It's an amazing lineup for me. I know two persons of them personally, and I'm really excited for that game.
Awesome, yeah. Eric won his first game, and then Kyle, so Catan, you hear me. He's currently at 6 points. We've got bjaki at 4 points, and Honey's got 7 points. So big game for the three of them. Probably gonna try and definitely pull a win out here. And obviously Eric wants to keep his streak going, so this will be really interesting.
Yeah, and win in the first two, three games is important, I think. Um, Speaking for myself, I lost both of my first two games. Maybe you watched last week's game on the stream.
I did. I
Uh,
did. I saw Lagana pull that out right there in the last
yeah, I
minutes.
had the feeling I made some huge mistakes, maybe, or some I'm not sure if you can say huge, but it was some minor mistakes where I could have bought more dev cards instead of building a SETI. Um, yeah, but I'm already in a tough spot without a win after the two games. So it's the same for the other three players who are now trying to get their first win.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, I find you wanna get a couple of quick wins under your belt in the beginning, and it not that it lifts the stress, as the
Yeah,
season goes on, but it kinda gives you a little bit of breathing room, right? When you're kinda stuck behind the 8 ball, like, for example, bjaki at 4 points, I'm sure he's stressing. He could not have been happy after his last game ending with 4 points, right? Because at the very least, if you're not going to win, you want to try and gain as many points. Because in a league like this, every single point is really going to count for you. So, yeah,
totally, totally. Yes. This
so
is
it'll
what I always try to do, and also what Honey told me once. Like you have to always focus on getting at least 8 points. That's your goal. What you want to achieve in a base game. You want to have 8 points. If you get to the point of 8 points, you made a good game. If you don't get to 8 points, you have done something wrong in the game.
absolutely. I would agree with that. Going shy with just 7 points, it's you really leave it's crazy how 1 point kind of works like that, but at 7 points, you're really leaving room for someone else to kind of especially with the way that the point system works and the percentages and it really makes a huge difference. I would agree. 8 points or higher is
Mm.
the goal, right? At the very minimum, 8 points.
And
And
an
that's
additional stress factor is that after 5 games you can be out of the tournament. Like if
yes.
you have no wins and then last four players, they're just cut off.
Yep.
So then you have to wait for the next season.
And that's just it. The waiting part of it sucks. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how bjaki kind of is what he's able to do with this game because it's going to be a huge game for him and
I think he can bounce back. He's
I
a
think
quite
so.
good player.
Yeah, I
Should we go over to introducing the players? Oh, ok- okay. We
oh,
already see the board.
absolutely.
Let's see. Who's first player?
So
Is
Kyle
Catan you
first.
Catan you hear me?
Yeah, that's Kyle. He's got first position here.
Have you played a lot with him?
I've played with him a couple of times. So, Eric, actually, I know him from real life tournaments. I had met
Okay.
him at my very first uh, tournament. I didn't actually realize he messaged me a little while ago and said we had actually met. It was obviously my first tournament, so it was
Yeah,
very much a
and you won that tournament, didn't you?
yes, I did actually. Yeah.
So he quite remembers you.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he ended up like somewhere, then yeah, you don't know him. Maybe that's how it
And
is.
even, when in a real life tournament, like, you don't get to know other players in the same way that you get to know players here in the Premier League or even
Yeah.
KOC. So it's actually quite exciting that you get to know people a little bit more on a personal level. But back to the game here, what do you think Kyle's thinking? I kind of see two spots for him.
I would think about the 8-5-10, just because of the production.
Yeah.
And then I also would think about the 6 wheat. Or maybe that spot, the 10-9-5.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that 9-5-10. I was looking at the 8-5-10 with the double wood and
Yeah.
this it's lower ore, but I think like you said, better production and that brick is super rare, right? If you look at it's a 3 and 2 brick complementing that 9 and so I actually quite like his position. I probably would have gone
Yeah, it's
10 here
yeah,
as
he's pointing a road to a safe 3-1 harbor, which is quite nice.
Yep, and even if he can double up on the 10 early on. That way he gets the most production out of that. I like that. Do you think bjaki by default then takes the 8-5-10, or do you think he looks maybe elsewhere?
I would
What do you think?
prefer some weak spot in his position. I think the 6-5-4-3 is quite a good spot.
6-4-3.
Yeah, with the wheat, sheep, and ore. That is,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wonder if he's thinking about this 8-4-3 on the side right above the 10 or get a little bit of brick, which is rare. He's still on the wheat, so he'll have movement in the regards of not needing to rely on any brick trades or anything like that.
yeah, and
Build
he would have
the
a
10.
nice expansion spot with the 8-10
Yeah,
brick board.
exactly. I'm curious if he's contemplating that along with the 6-4-3 with the 6 wheat. Even the 8-5-10 here, I don't know if he would necessarily be locking up the wood, but if he looks at any complementing spot, like let's say if 6-4-11, I wonder if he's kind of toying around with something like that with the 6-4-11 wheats, and then
Oh yeah, that would work. Yeah.
he has the wood port above, and then from the 8-5-10 with the double wood, he has the wheat port right above it.
Yeah, and even if you don't get the wheat port, the 3-1 is quite fine, I think, for that.
Exactly, exactly. He has in case anyone takes that 9-10. It'll be interesting to see. What do you do here? What do you think you would kind of
I'm still looking at the 6-4-3, which is, I think it's most variable bot here. But 8-5-10 is definitely a good choice. Yeah, he's
Oh,
taking
there you
it.
go. I wonder if he's hoping for exactly that of the 6-4-11 being open for him.
Or even the 6-11-12 works maybe as well
Yeah,
with that.
obviously having that 4 will be a bonus, but I think he thinks someone takes the 8-4-3 to build a road down to the 10 over the 8-10-3.
Yeah, you could be right there. So who's picking now? Honey.
So we've got
So
yeah.
um, German player. I, if I must say so, I think he's one of the most successful online Catan players. Like in a time span of about 10 years. He has been around a long time. He's actually was a tournament host of a tournament scene before King of Catan. It was called.
Online or in real life? Is that how you know him?
It was online, so
Oh,
there where I first met him. It
perfect. And
was
there you go. He ends up taking the spot that You were actually preferring the 6-4-3. That's a good spot
And
too.
I think it works quite well with which you
In
can
third
probably
position.
get back.
Oh, absolutely. I love that spot for third position.
So
I'm
now
not
we,
mad at being fourth on this board. I'm sure, like, initially, Eric was probably feeling like, "Oh, man, what's gonna be left for me at fourth?" But looking at this board with what's left over, he actually has quite a few options there for him.
yeah, what I'm looking at right now is the 8-4-3 with wood, wheat, and brick, and then the second spot, the 9-11-4, getting an additional brick and the sheep. So you have all 5 resources after you maybe expand to the 8-10 and having a good road potential there.
Do you feel like if he goes 8-4-3 and then over to the 9-11-4, do you feel like he points his road towards that ore and hope that no one goes on that ore, seeing all of them have ore already?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think he feels like he has a chance? Because I don't know if he beats Honey to if he can build 3 roads quicker than Honey might. If he takes up all those road spots, he might hinder Honey from getting on that 2-for-1 sheep port. Because if Honey beats him to that 2-for-1 sheep port, pointing the road and trying to race over to the 8-3 would be not pointless,
Mm,
but a little bit of a waste. So it's a
yeah,
little
no, don't think the 8-3 is an option
yeah.
for EB here, unless he's picking it right away. But I would much prefer getting on the 8-10 with the third settlement in his spot.
Definitely, I would make sure that's the first one that I get, and then with the 9-3 brick, you have great port fuel, right? Do you think he
Uh,
goes 8-3-10? Do you think he's contemplating going 8-3-10, 6-4-11, and taking, that spot away potentially from bjaki?
he could be, but I don't think it's a good move from him.
No, I'd agree.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I like to think about what some people oh,
Okay.
well, there you
Oh,
go.
you were right about that one.
Yeah, I sometimes like to play devil's advocate and kind of think
Uh,
about, okay, what are the different possibilities that people could be thinking about? And there you go. He does exactly that. He's trying to take. So this is the thing where I do think that that's a good move. Is why I was wondering if he contemplates it, because he's actually taking wheat away from blue, who's Kyle, and gold here, who's bjaki. If he now
yeah.
ties up a little bit more, whether he goes the 8-4-3, it only really leaves one good wheat spot left.
Yeah, and then you have all the wheat and you can trade it with the other
Exactly.
players.
Exactly.
I think that's what he's thinking here, yeah.
Yeah, he has to be
But
thinking that, which I think in his position, um, with his that much ore out on the board, that's what you're gonna try and bank on. You're gonna bank on some really good trades here, and that you can lock these players out of one of the best resources being wheat.
yes, definitely the wheat. Wheat, for every card or point you need wheat. So that is,
I think he goes 8-4-3. I don't
yeah,
see.
yeah, I
Um,
think so too. 8-4-3,
do you think he's
and then
contemplating that 9-10 with the wheat port?
no, I don't think so. I think such
Yeah,
port strategies are kind of weak because
they
you
are
don't
very.
want to trade your wheat 2-for-1. What you want to do is like actually trading the wheat with the other guys and
Yeah,
getting more out of it.
yep. No, I
So
agree.
yeah,
I wonder what else he might be contemplating here.
I might be just thinking about where to put his road. I mean, he did think one PL gave 5 minutes about where to point his road.
That's
He's the
true.
one.
He's wondering if anyone steals that 8-10 from him? Or do you think he goes 9-4-11?
He might be doing just right now a deal with someone that he gets the 8-10.
That's
Something like
true.
that. Like he's maybe trying to figure out if the other people at the board want to build a settlement there.
I think his
But
best bet is definitely going this 8-4-3. Oh, okay. I think that
hey,
was a little bit more riskier. I think someone
yeah,
jumped on that 8-4-3-for-1 port.
yeah, yeah, I see it coming as well. That someone will pick
Because
the
now
8-4.
instead of only leaving the one wheat spot open being the 6-3-11, he's now left them two, and that 8-4-3-for-1 port is not a bad spot, especially for Kyle here. Those are the two
Yes,
resources he's missing, and he's obviously on the best brick, being the 9. So for him to pair it up with that 8 wood, and he's close enough to join his roads, I think that's Kyle's kind of saying thank you in a way.
yeah, I agree. And then it's only one expansion spot left for EB. That's only the 11 wheat, which is starting roads. I think I would have placed it differently, but not so successful as EB has been in the Premier League, so maybe there's some difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out and what his thought process
And
ends up being.
where is he heading afterwards? Like, is he
Well,
going then to the 11-12 if the 8-4 is picked? What is his odds?
yeah, I think 8-4 gets picked by blue for sure. That's why I think the 8-4-3 would have been a better position here.
Yeah.
What do we think Honie's thinking here?
So he has wheat, sheep, and ore, so he's looking maybe for a brick wood, sort of
Brick and wood.
4-9-11
Yeah, the 9. I wonder if
or
he's
the 6-3-11.
see if I was Honey, I would have actually been looking at
Take
that
the 6-3-11 and cut off the wheat.
9-3-11 and cut off that wheat and force someone if they want that wheat to go out to the 6
Yeah.
desert. Um, yeah, see, of course, uh, yeah, I don't know. I am a little bit surprised by black and red's placements.
So
Uh,
placed quite friendly in a way that
yeah,
leaves the
they really
spot
did.
opens.
They really
And
did. I'm
now,
curious as to maybe if there is a little bit of table talk going on there to kind of influence a little bit of that. But yeah, that's a wicked spot for bjaki. I can imagine he's really happy with that.
yeah, and as well, he knows that Kyle is gonna go on the 8-4, so
Absolutely.
the right board is just open for him.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
amazing.
It's funny sometimes you know, your initial placements can be so critical to how the game ends up and even where all the players, that I think sometimes people kind of take it for granted.
What do you mean by that?
Like, I think sometimes, so in when I play like friends and family,
Mm.
and a couple of, sometimes when you play online, I think sometimes people don't take the extra second to kind of think about, okay, if I go here, where does the next person go? And what's more beneficial? And for example, Honie's position here, the
Mm.
9-11-4. Um, I know they obviously tried to double up on that sheep because they're hoping to get down to that sheep board, and so it's just a little bit more fuel. But at the same time, I don't think anyone takes that 9-4-2. It might
Yeah.
actually, mind you, gold. So bjaki, if bjaki doesn't take 3-11-6 and had Honey taken that 9-3-11. it leaves the 9-4-2 open for bjaki, and he just points a road over to the wheat. So and he's got enough wood to kind of fuel obviously his roads to go along with the 9-2, so that wouldn't have been an issue. So I'm wondering if
Yeah, yeah.
that was a
I
little.
think that was the thinking of Honie.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I can see that now. So it's better to give bjaki that 3 brick versus the 9 brick. So when you look at it like that, definitely I can now understand Honie's position, and I quite agree with it.
yeah, me too. Yeah.
I wonder what Kyle's thinking right now. I wonder if they're doing a little bit of he's got 8 seconds left. He's got to make a quick move here.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that one. Okay, I think there was some kind of deal
There had to have
between
been some kind of
yeah.
deal. Yeah. Um I'm wondering if the deal has to do with Eric's brick.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
just wondering now how many resources is Kyle
if
getting for doing that?
well, it looks like it's a 1 for 1. It's a wood for brick. And if Eric accepts this deal, then we can basically assume that, yeah, we can assume that they talked about that
But I
before.
think it has to be more involved than just this one trade. I feel like it's a big thing for Kyle getting or doing that instead of doing the 8-4.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you're obviously hindering bjaki's expansion spots, right? So if bjaki either goes up to the, so you're hindering both Honie and bjaki here. You're They would have been racing anyways to the 11-5 at some point after they obviously take their spots on the ports. But you end up taking away expansion spots from both of them, where now they're forced to have to build multiple roads to get you know, anywhere other than just doubling up on their positions where they are. So bjaki going up to the wheat port, you don't want him to necessarily double up on the 6 and fuel that wheat port even more. And with Honie here on the bottom, you force him to make a little bit more road.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I still think it's Yaki and Houni are not that disappointed because they still have space to go.
Absolutely, they can go
Uh,
around.
yeah, they are more disappointed that the 8-4 is still open for EB.
Yeah, I think if I was Kyle, I still would have looked at that 8-4-3-for-1 with the potential of connecting roads.
Mm, yes, yeah. So, but EB didn't place the road down. There's still a trade open here. I
So
would
it
have.
looks like Eric traded wood for sheep with Honie. Let's see if we can hear a little bit of the table talk here and see what's going on.
Yeah. So, what's going on? What's going on with that road? Are you coming back to the 10 ore?
I'm not. I'm not. 100%. I'm not.
Good. I'm gonna block this one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bjaki, you've got the goods though. Got some nice wheat ore up there, I think.
Yeah.
Don't have any more wheat that was stolen. If you're looking for that, actually.
That's interesting.
Okay, we don't.
Eric, would you give me the Bjaki?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Why don't you want to steal from him though?
Because this guarantees the wheat.
Yep.
So clearly Eric and Kyle are doing a lot of they're taking a lot of control of this table really early on actually. So you hear them in the beginning they're talking about Eric and Kyle specifically talking about, okay, I know you have the road in hand, and this is Kyle talking to Eric wanting to know if he's going to backpedal onto that 10 ore, which is obviously a concern for Kyle because he wants to double up on that. So you have Eric basically reassuring him that I'm not going to do that. And so it forces, Kyle to kind of look his way towards, bjaki, who's obviously stacked on roads and wheat and ore and things like that. So they're looking at that 8 ore as a huge threat in the beginning, especially, and they want to try and slow him down, especially since he's already got the road out to 3-for-1.
Yeah, I see. But I think maybe Kyle is looking to be in no EB. I mean, Eric
Looking
looks
really
for me
good.
in quite a good spot.
Yeah, that trade actually ended up working out really well for Eric because he basically, I think, guaranteed. We can't really see all the cards that got. Oh, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
so Kyle, he's got the 2 ore and the brick. But I thought I heard them talk a little bit about possibly making a trade to guarantee the wheat from Eric, and Eric had agreed, but I'm wondering if after he pulled and ended up getting ore, if he maybe backed away. Is ore what he ended up getting?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I think he did end up getting the ore, and so then they kind of backed away and said it's okay, and he'll wait it off.
Okay. So Eric is trying to get another brick for getting a road settlement here.
Yeah, he wants to quickly place down, and he doesn't want to hold his cards for too long either.
No,
It's
he shouldn't. He has
always
8 cards, so he has to build something here in this turn.
yeah. And it's gonna be either Honie and bjaki, obviously, but they have just enough in their hand for the roads that they're looking for in the settlements. So I don't see either of them making the trade. Yeah, and there you go. Eric just builds the road, and he's probably contemplating, yep, a development card, and there you go. So a victory point this early in the game. What are your feelings about that when you're playing in,
I think that's the most awful stuff that you can get in the early game.
especially in the beginning? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're looking to pull those things near the end. In the beginning, you want something that's going to help you expand or even like robber control, I would say.
Yeah. You're always hoping for getting a robber or some monopoly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the VP at the beginning, that's quite awful. Well, I'm always afraid of getting that. And that's why sometimes I'm not buying a development card, because then I know I'm really stuck.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
can be stuck.
In the beginning, if my first pull is a mono, I mean, I love the mono, don't get me wrong. But as the first pull, I'm definitely preferring something that's helping me expand, or even like robber control, like we had already mentioned. So if it's a road build, a year plenty, or the robber, I'm definitely, well, the knight, I mean, I'm definitely looking for those 3 above and beyond. And then I don't mind after my second, third pull, a mono is a beauty. And then so
I see what I get, but I still would be happy if I get the first mono right
oh,
away.
absolutely. Yeah. It's just hard in the beginning to figure out, the best way to play that mono because people are definitely dumping cards really early. There's no cities on the board, so there's not high production. You're not getting, in the early game, you're not getting as many cards as you would in, let's say, the middle game or the end game.
Yeah. I think I would always play it like you have a VP like on the table, and as well like you're suggesting you have a VP,
Hmm.
and it's basically a VP, and you should always wait until the end of the game and getting the most out of it.
So here it
So
looks like I'm not sure. Has Honie
he has his settlement in hand, so he
yeah,
should be fine going to the sheep port.
but I'm
Or-
wondering if he's trying to get another wheat to potentially buy a development card as well. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
having let's go over to the game and see if we can hear what the
I
table
mean,
talk is.
back to where we were with the wheat. I mean, I could look at it. I could look at 2 for 2 potentially. I could toss a wood in there if you want to give me back a brick and a sheep.
If you give me the brick back and give you an ore, all I would ask is like just a wheat in the future.
Yeah.
Just a 1 for 1 for a wheat.
I mean, he's trying to get the 3, which is incredibly good for him. I kind of like him just putting down settling here. I think he's trying to work something to get to the
So we'll
3.
give you an all for the brick.
No, not nor.
I mean, he wouldn't be trading away brick there.
I can trade you if you want. I'll trade you ore. I can trade you ore for sheep. I'll do that. I'm good
I
for
would
that.
do this only if I can just get a wheat.
I'll counter it right now. Quick. Sorry, I got like 8 seconds here. Oh, okay.
Guess not.
So
Yeah, so he's basically so he was doing exactly that. He was hoping for the wheat in order to be able to buy a development card, which I think is smart. You wanna create a little bit of a defense. But also, hey, maybe pull for one of those monos, road builds,
Yeah.
you got anything.
What was interesting was that EB was trying directly to cut the trade, so getting in between, saying, "No, I would do the same trade. Just don't do it with Honey." Let's show some active player.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to have wheat in abundance. So if I'm in Eric's position, even if I only have 1 wheat in my hand, I don't mind trading it. Because the reality is I'm going to get another 6, 4, or an 11 rolled by the time, I need it again. So
Who do
bjaki
you
here.
think is at the moment in front? Oh,
So honestly, with Eric's production, he's actually doing quite well, especially in the early game. He's getting all completely set up. Um, I think the biggest thing for him was to get onto the 3 for 1 port, and he's done that. So he's not looking bad. He's already got kind of 1 VP, but I'm looking at Honie, and especially with that city sitting in his hand, he's not like I wouldn't be sleeping on Honie either. I think bjaki for his setup, obviously having the 8 ore and the 6 wheat, he's hoping for cities a little bit more faster here. He's struggling a little bit with no sheep, and I can imagine he's probably asking for some sheep, but he's realizing no one has it. So he's definitely in a position where off the jump you would kind of assume that, okay, he's on the best ore, he's got the 6 wheat to kind of match up with it, he's in a really strong position, hence Kyle and Eric so early on kind of plotted and did this 5-11 out to the 6-12 blocking him. But I kind of, if I'm in bjaki's situation here, I'm a little frustrated with how cards are kind of coming out. So I think people looked at him a little bit as a threat in the beginning. But yeah, he's definitely off to a slow start along with Kyle.
Yes, I think maybe the others have overestimated him in the beginning, and now he's definitely angry after that cutoff, and now he's sitting and haven't built a single point so far.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a bit frustrated. And this is why I think Kyle he made a mistake not going on the 8-4 3-for-1. And it sounds like when we were listening to them a little bit earlier, it sounded like him and Eric had actually made a deal that Eric would not pedal backwards and go for the 10 or. But what Kyle should have realized is if he goes 8-4 3-for-1, the likelihood is that he's gonna get the brick sooner than Eric here and be able to kind of take away that 2-for-1 brick spot and doubling up on the 10 or. So again, like I said, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think Eric actually benefits from all of this the most.
Yeah, the last two blocks were on Honie,
Yeah.
or the 7.
And even when it was on that 6, Eric, I don't think got stolen from. I'm pretty sure it was still bjaki getting stolen from. So he's kind of skating by right now. So another 7. If I was Kyle, I would be looking at Eric. Let's go to the table and see if there's any discussion around it.
Timeout on the placement.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Good job.
Wait, what?
I mean, maybe the 8 was probably a better block. I think.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I've got just so much wheat, but I mean, I do double on split arrow. If the right numbers here, I can maybe see it quicker. But
Yeah, it sounds like Eric doesn't even try and fight for getting anyone else blocked. He recognizes that he's got really good production. He's on the port. He's got 3 points down on the board with already a road set up to go over to that 2-for-1. So
Yeah, the additional factor was that Honie hadn't any resource. So I think there was no question where the robber is going to.
Yep, and I think this is where bjaki kind of so I agree with Eric when he says you probably should have did the 8 wood. I probably would have done that as well because Eric just has an abundance of wheat and you want to try and prevent him from gaining anything else. And obviously bjaki rolled that 8. But I think this is where bjaki takes a little bit of a breather and other people are going to start taking some slack for him, right? You've got Honie with the city, so people are, and as well as the port, so people are going to start paying attention to Honie a little bit closer, and Eric is going to take a little bit of the heat with obviously his faster startup here. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah, and there you go. Honie rolls a 7 and blocks the 8 where it probably should have been to begin with.
Yeah, when you look at the board, I think there's 2 players right now who's getting quite a bit of a head in front of the others. So
that's the
Kyle and bjaki are definitely having now a better time or can relax a bit and try to catch up.
Yep, definitely. And a 6 just rolled, so bjaki is definitely taking a little bit of a deep breath there, but still kind of stressed out because he's now got 8 cards. So he's definitely hoping that his next roll, he's not rolling a 7. Otherwise, he will probably silently want to flip the table.
Yeah, he definitely wants it. I can imagine him pretty well right now. If he rolls a 7, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
He would be so angry.
Well, the key here is then for him to figure out, I mean, Honie's got wheat. Everyone else has, I mean, even Eric has wheat and ore. So if he does roll a 7, I think it's going to be, if he's tracking cards, it's going to be a matter of how well he's tracking cards and kind of playing the odds of, okay, he'll have to get rid of either an ore or a wheat. And so the decision will be which one to get rid of and where can I get that back, right? So
yeah, definitely you would think about the 6. There was a 6 wheat, so he should know where the wheat is.
Yeah.
At this point. But there's now a trade which indicating he doesn't want to build a city now.
Yeah, so he ends up taking that 2-for-1 trade. And he breaks up his city in order to get the settlement. And to be honest, I can understand that move. A move like that is if he puts the city down, he rolled a 7.
Yeah, that is why he did that. If he didn't do this trade, he would be now 7 out.
Yeah, that's well done on his part.
And now he has the settlement
How
right
do
in
you
his hand.
guess that, right? You just think that and he at least got a settlement out of it. Exactly. That's perfect. That was a perfect play by him to kind of be a little bit defensive there. And you know what? And this is exactly what I was gonna say. If he cities up the 8, or if he, puts down the settlement on the 3-for-1, quite honestly, there's no rush to city up. You're doubling up on your 8. Once that bad boy hits a couple of times, like it has, he's just gonna start piling up with the ore. So that was a perfect move by bjaki. I'm glad he did that.
Wasn't expecting that, and it works out pretty well. And I think now he's not this threat as he could have been if he built the city. So now the others don't think him as a threat and won't put the rubber properly on him.
Well, exactly. It's all about that perception, and how the table's viewing you, right? It's sometimes a perception and reality. The reality doesn't matter as much as like what the perception of you on the table is. So I think he's now, with that settlement down, he's breathing a little bit more easier. But I think Kyle here, he's trying to figure out what his next moves are, and he's definitely he's not breathing easy yet.
No, he definitely wants to get on the 6th wheat. He hasn't any wheat spot yet. And he needs a sheep.
Yeah, and
there's no sheep.
Nope. Not sure if he's card tracking or not, but if he steals a wood from Eric, at the very least, he can throw a road down around the 10. But you know what? That's not a bad pull for him either. He knows that bjaki has a bunch of ore in hand, and so he's just stocking it up. But that's what I worry about as well, is he's gonna try and trade for the wheat, which I think is a good.
He's trying to get the city. I think he should get it maybe with a road for wheat deal. Maybe Honie or EB want to do that.
Yeah, I did 1-for-1.
Yeah, there you go.
They did 1-for-1.
Yeah, good.
And there's the city.
Good city.
Okay.
Well, that was a very generous trade, 1-for-1 to give him a city.
There was still something earlier trades left.
Yeah.
About the 5-11 placement.
Okay, there you go. An immediate return. 2 ore right there.
Yeah.
So Kyle's not too disappointed by that.
So in bjaki's spot, would you go to the 9-10 or would you settle on the 10 wood or wheat pot?
No, I definitely try and get another road here. I think I only give it a round or 2 though. The reality is no one's racing you, mind you. And every single wheat you're gonna get, you're gonna want to use it, right? Even if he cities up that 6-3-11, it's not enough production. You maybe end up using that wheat port once, maximum maybe twice, if you get the opportunity, because we have to remember he doesn't have any cities down yet, so he's going to be using all those and he's going to want to buy development cards. The only person yet to have bought a development card is Eric, and I'm sure everyone's figured out by now that it's a VP, whether they've said it out loud or just kind of thought it in their mind.
Yeah.
He's been blocked quite a bit and it hasn't been used. If it was a year of plenty, he would have used it to help him build the settlement especially since there's been a very low production of sheep. So people have, through the basis of elimination, have figured out that he's got a VP. So,
I get it that you want to get the 9 sheep spot here because to get more development cards. But what about his city here now? Do you place it on the 8-5-10 or the 6-3-11?
So that's the thing. I think you bring too much attention to your ore, which already
Yeah.
has attention, being the 8 ore. If you go 8, 5, 10, at the same time, you go 8, 5, 10, at least and exactly, this is what I was about to say. You're fueling now your port. You're hoping people don't roll sevens, although Honey just rolled a 7. So
Hmm.
um I'm curious if Pony, yeah, exactly. And that's the problem with sitting that up. But at the very least, the issue with the 6 is it's bouncing back and forth between the 6 and the 8 anyways. Um, you put it on the 8, you hope at least one roll of that 8 comes. You can sit with 3 ore in your hand. Otherwise, you're freeing up your wheat anyways. And the issue, if you city up that 311 brick wood, it's just not enough production. So you just kind of figure, sure,
Yeah.
they're gonna block my 8 ore, but I'm gonna at least get production of the wood to be able to fuel it and get something that I need. So I think I agree with him. I take that 8, 5, 10. I take the risk. But I expect to kind of fuel my port a little bit and free that 6 up.
I feel like the decision was made kind of like because the robber was blocking the 6 at that point. I think if the robber had been somewhere else, I would have placed the city on a 6, 311. But
But
just
with
because the
that in
robber
mind,
was.
But with that in mind, that's more incentive to city that 6 311 up is
Yeah.
because you know that when the next 7 is rolled, it has to move from there, right? So to put the city on the
Yeah,
8
yeah.
5 10, you just attract that robber, and then it's like, what was the point? Where once that 7's rolled, it's moving, and they're not going to block that 3 or 11.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. But how do you know when the next 7 is coming? And
Yeah,
we're
and that's the
so.
hard part to kind of guess. I'm just looking at
Yeah.
Eric here. He's looking at trading some wheat for wood. I don't. I wonder if he's looking
I
to.
think it's just too good for you.
Oh, because he's on the 3 for 1 port. So if he's able to get
All
that
right.
wood, he can
Well,
trade it in for a sheep, and he was hoping to settle.
Oh, he gets not a city.
Yeah, and he takes the city instead. He was looking to settle before he cities because obviously, like we kind of talked about, it's that perception. So now with that city up, he's gonna look more scarier than had he just had a settlement over on that 2 for 1 wood port. But obviously not being able to get the trade, he just settles with the city.
I think both things, the settlement on the woodport and or the city, are both quite important for him and makes
Yes.
him now a threat or pointing a target at him.
Yep. But I think now he attracts more attention to that tenor for sure.
No, I would say the 8 wood is the bigger target here. Yeah, both 8s, I think, the most blocking targets right now.
Well, he's not on that 2 for 1 port just as of yet. So if I can still block Kyle and Eric on that 10, um I mean, I'm not sleeping on the 8, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind. I think anywhere between that 8 and 10. But that 10 is a little bit more juicy because I can still block 2 people here.
And there we go, the settlement for Kyle. I was waiting a long time for that.
Yes, he was.
Getting now on the weed.
Yep.
I still think it's too slow for him. I don't see it as his game.
Well, this is the first road he put down, and he's finally getting that settlement after people have already built 3, 4 points. Some of them are on the verge of building their 5th point, and he's getting his first settlement now, which is on that, super important wheat that he's needed from the beginning. So, definitely it was very, very slow. But I think he's got the biggest fight here. I think Honie is wishing these 4s rolled a little bit more He or even like he was probably wishing for a 3 this round.
Yeah,
8 is kind of
that would have given him a city.
frustrated with. Yeah, absolutely.
Where's he pointing now, or what is his next? Is he getting the city, or is he trying to build another settlement down?
That was my only thing with Honie's position here. He's wasting a lot of road material, but I don't know. Does he go for just the easy point by doubling up on that 6? Or does he think about
I think he should probably get the 6-4-3 city up first.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Just
Yeah.
because if you're going to be needing your resources in order to build, for example, 3 roads, if he's looking at either the 9-5 or not the 9-5-2, but the 5-2, or even the 6-2 or something like that, if he wants to go traveling, in order to connect all his roads, he definitely needs to juice up his production a little bit here.
Yeah, but he's actually looking for sheep right now, or trying
He
to trade
is.
for it.
That 4 has been very quiet, so I think he just kind of settles with buying a development card.
And it's a knight.
Yep, and here's another 7 rolled by Eric. There's been quite a bit of 7s going on. What are you thinking in Eric's position? Were you thinking to block? Obviously, he doesn't want to block his own 10 or his own 6. But mind you, he gets enough production on the wheat with the 4 and 11. Do you take a hit and block your own 6 in order to block the other 2 players, knowing that both players don't have wheat? So this is kind of an opportunity to, and he goes with Honie instead. I
No,
would
I
have,
would try. Yeah, I would try maybe the same. Like I would try to get the look. What is the development card Honie has?
yeah,
So, and how do you get that? You block him. Then you
Yeah.
can straight away know if it's a knight or something else.
yeah,
So, but he's doing a 3-for-1 as well and gets the settlement on the
Yeah.
wood court,
yeah. He was waiting for that.
and he's up on 6 points. That
So
might be a fast game
yeah,
if he
he's
connects
really-
road.
Absolutely. I think he's feeling really comfortable. He's gonna just kind of sit back, let the cards come in. He's gonna hope for a couple of 10s here. Even 1-10 would do, because then after that he'll have the wheat and the wood to complement. So I think here this is where Eric kind of sits back. He possibly gets a little bit quiet in the game. And he just really watches everyone else's position.
Yeah, and here's a clear path to victory with
Yeah.
road and 2 cities.
Yep, absolutely. See, and there's that 10. There you go.
Yeah, it's 10 helps as well. Bjaki, that he gets the road down to the 9-10.
Yeah, and he does exactly that. He needs that sheep. There's very little development cards being bought as of yet. And so and that's a huge roll for Honie. He's loving that.
Yeah.
I think Honie trades this in and buys a development card, especially with the only player with a knight on the board. You definitely you try and see. I don't know if I trade the sheep though. I don't do that trade. I would have utilized my 2-for-1 port, and I don't give Eric a 1-for-1 and give him basically a free. Yeah, I don't know why Honie does that. I would have just used the 2-for-1 and got it. But hey, Honie got a monopoly, so he's got to be really, really happy with that.
It's huge.
It
Especially
is.
with the sheepod, but the sheepod might not help him. You probably will get some ore out of it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
There's an abundance of ore out there. But this is my point. Eric buys a development card and he gets a knight, and Honie with only one knight played, you now have Eric on your heels. He has options, nothing but options now. He has 2 points for either road. He can throw down a couple of development cards and get some more knights. You don't want Eric buying development cards. That's the thing. Just to save a sheep, I don't know if it's something I would have done.
Yeah, I agree.
Kyle, I mean, Eric's the only one who would be willing to take this trade. And it gives Kyle a city here. I don't know. What do you think here? Do you think Kyle should be focusing on getting another city? Yeah, see, they're all trading with Eric, and if I'm Kyle and I see that very little development cards have been bought, do you try and jump into that development card game
Mm,
versus buying a city? Or do you buy the city to increase your production to then get into the development card game? I mean,
mm, I had like the same decision last week, and I opted out for getting the city because I was feeling like I was a bit of behind in the development card race. But in retrospect, I would have better been off if I bought the development card. So it
yeah,
always depends.
yeah.
Well,
Especially here in the beginning game where, like I said, no one's bought. But Bjaki got a huge city. That's a huge city for Bjaki. His game is really turning around here really quickly. And I mean, I think it was that key moment where he doesn't lose cards to the 7 and he settled with a settlement instead. So it's really paying off for him.
and there we have a monopoly.
Yep, he
That's an
plays.
early monopoly.
You know what?
How
But
many?
there was enough ore out there. He got an abundance. The only thing that is a little unfortunate, he didn't have the cards to support it.
Yeah,
So I think I just buy one. Yeah, he's looking to get a city, but no one's got wheat. I think I just buy maybe one development card and I sit. I think he panicked a little bit. I think he saw a bunch of ore and he wasn't necessarily following cards to realize that no one could do anything with the ore. And he just pulled the trigger.
I think it was too early for the monopoly. Yeah. And he gets one city out of it.
Yeah,
That's
you always want to
you
try.
always want to get two cities out of it, at least,
Absolutely,
or a
absolutely,
city and the development card.
absolutely. You want to do more than, and I mean, if you're at a point in the game where someone might win, and so you're kind of desperate and you have to use the monopoly, absolutely. But I think he just didn't realize how many, maybe he wasn't card counting, and
Mm.
he just kind of jumped the gun. Maybe
Yeah,
he got excited as well. You know,
I had the feeling that there was more in the game.
yeah, yeah.
So, but is now bjaki or Honie the threat for Eric? Where is he placing the knight?
Yeah, I'd be looking at bjaki. Um, yeah, I
Okay.
think that's bjaki was able to build those two cities very quickly. And now really he's just gonna sit back and try and get that settlement, and once he does, he's just going to be buying development cards. He doesn't need to really do anything else in the game. So I think that's where Eric sees bjaki as more of a threat. um with the higher production being the 8 and 6 with port fuel of a 3-for-1, right? That's where I think bjaki kind of edges Honie out in regards to being a threat.
Yeah, I see. Now another 7. Now Kyle has the decision to make where to block. Yeah, there's Robber is moving around, not focusing on one player. And we have a quite even game with
It is
everybody
quite a
showing
game.
5 points.
Yeah.
With EB a 1 hidden development card. Of course, the others don't know that's VP. So,
Yeah.
but
I
you
think
actually don't
Honie
know who's gonna win this.
options. Absolutely. He has a lot of options here. He's just going to let the cards basically decide it for him. If he keeps getting roads, he'll connect his roads. If he ends up getting more wheat in his hand and possibly sheep once the robber gets moved again, he's going to buy development cards. So he's actually sitting in a very comfortable position as well, but it kind of looks like Eric's game has slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, but it's now getting probably better for him. Now that
Yeah.
the robber's off him and
Yeah,
some aids, and then
Yep, the attention is kind of shifting towards bjaki and Honie here a little bit. And that's the thing with Catan that I find a lot of people uh you know like, what's the word, but like they kind of sleep on the fact that every round it's a different player. It's not necessarily from the beginning to end the same player
yeah,
who is the threat, right? It constantly shifts. As a
yeah,
robber is
some
and slowing one player down, it gives the opportunity for another player to kind of speed up a little bit, and then the attention shifts to that player now. So it's a constant evolving game.
yeah, and it's what a mistake some beginners make at that they jump on a train and then they think like that is the player who's the threat, and he keeps it the whole game. And
Yeah, they get hyper focused.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so every time you get a 7 or you place a 9, you have to ask yourself who is actually at the moment the biggest threat.
Yeah. Wow,
And
Honie just did a 3-for-1 trade with Kyle. Ah, and a sevens rolled. That's the risk of a trade like that. So Kyle now all those bricks that he basically traded for, he's got to dump.
yeah, that was a weird trade. 3 bricks.
Yeah. And I don't know if Kyle was thinking he can use it as a 4-for-1. He can trade it in and get the wheat, and basically he would have had road settle.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's where Kyle was coming from with that trade. But obviously the 7 comes along and ruins all your plans. And Kyle's now sitting
And
there.
was that even the trade was him getting over 7 cards at that point?
Yeah. Well, and that's the risk. And sometimes, a player's willing to take that risk. I think people also
Mm.
they get really afraid of that 7. When the reality is the percentage of that 7 rolling, although in this game it's rolling quite frequently. But in reality, sometimes, the risk is worth the trade-off, right? So
Yeah.
the reward sometimes, for example, had a 7 not rolled, the reward for Kyle would have actually been a road settle, which is huge for him, and I think would have put him in a great position.
Yeah, but I think he had the road settlement in hand maybe he was thinking about getting a road, some road stone, and looking for the longest road.
Are you surprised that he points it down towards the 3-for-1 and he doesn't go for the 2-for-1 brick and double up, or at least get 3 on that 10? Or do you feel
No,
like there's enough
no, I'm
attention?
not surprised. I have the feeling like he's looking at the road. He wants to get longest road at some point, and was hoping maybe the 10 isn't a threat anymore. But Looking
Yeah.
at the block now, it seems to be a threat.
Yep.
So Honie is blocking EB, and that is probably because he's his army competitor at the moment.
Yeah, they both have one night played. And that's why I think he kind of he blocks the 10. He's hoping to prevent him from buying any more development cards. So that's interesting. What being Honie, would you I mean, obviously the point is valuable, but would you
Yeah.
continue to leave your options open with road and want to have continuous roads? Or are you okay to what do you think about like throwing one road off to the side, not really caring about it, but still having the option open for road here?
I think it's okay. I think you want to get the point at some point, but yeah, I mean he's maybe thinking about making a loop somewhere, and so connecting his roads then
Yeah.
in the long run. And yeah, I think the 6-2 is definitely another spot where he's heading now.
Yeah, definitely. I think Honey has a bit of a like a uphill battle to finish out the end game. I think he needs a couple of really lucky rolls. I think obviously if he gets a 3, if a 4s, I mean, which were pretty silent in the beginning, if they start to roll, which they seem to have picked up on a little bit, I think Honey really takes off, and he really needs to bank on getting a couple of really good rolls here.
I see him winning here if he
If he can
builds a
definitely,
settlement on the 6-2 and then connecting the roads.
yep, absolutely.
With 7 roads, then he's on 10 points. I think that's what his plan right now is.
So is he on 7 points? Oh, right, because
Yeah.
we can't see that victory point included. So I was looking at him thinking 6 was including that VP.
Jay is at 7. Yeah, and I think that's the direct path to victory.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that definitely changes everything then.
Or even we can think about building a city and then just connect the roads.
Yeah.
And leave the settlement.
Whatever comes first, right?
Yeah.
Eric has 3 roads in hand. That'll be interesting to see what he does with that.
What I kind of feel interesting about Honie, he was pointing out in his survey that that one of his tips was be unpredictable, and that actually he is right now. I think he can get the army, he can get the road, or he can just put out 10 straight points on the board.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
there's different ways of winning, and that's
He has the
kind
most flexibility so far. I think bjaki here is trying to figure out a trade with Eric to get some wheat. Yeah, see?
So what are you're building roads with this, or what are you thinking here? What are we thinking?
What do you think I'm doing if I'm asking for wheat?
Yeah, I'm trying to reconcile that. Yeah, doesn't really.
I like it. This is
Headlong
the
and
way.
Nightsheep is very dangerous for us. That he gets the ability to build a lot of development cards.
I think I'm too late to do that. Already, but
Well, it's not that late.
Actually, I can help you 3 for 1 brick.
no.
If you're truly stuck and these guys won't help you.
No, I'm just gonna do this now, I guess. Since I can't do this.
So what's interesting here is, so by default of Eric not making this trade, he forces bjaki into building roads, which I think for Eric is actually to his detriment.
Yeah.
If you've got 3 roads in hand and clearly you're getting really good road material, maybe you do distract bjaki into buying development cards. And I think this is kind of like the fork in the road for Eric, where he should have made a decision. Okay, do I want to go for roads or do I want to go for development cards, right? Like at a certain point you have options open, but at some point you have to kind of make a decision and be like, okay, what direction am I going in? And if he has 3 roads in hand, I would assume that his easiest, and he's so close together, his easiest 2 points over army and roads would have been roads. So then, yeah, you distract bjaki and you give him the settlement. You take the road from bjaki in exchange for the 1 wheat, and you say, okay, go buy development cards and, be a thorn in Horny's ass, right?
Yeah.
Which, which sounds funny. But yeah, and then you're a thorn in Honey's ass, and you kind of have the weight lifted off of you, because now they're gonna start battling it out, and they're gonna start blocking each other and paying attention to each other, while you can quietly just on the side, that's the thing with roads, right? You can build settlements off your roads. So if you
Yeah.
build your roads in such a strategic way that you open up a spot that no one can steal, a settlement spot from you, you just sit back and you wait for yourself to be able to then oh wow, he takes that 10 ore spot.
And wasn't that the spot where he, at the beginning, he said he
Kyle
would leave it for Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing. How long are those promises supposed to go on for, right? He's clearly built 6 points, and he had the opportunity. This is the thing. It's not like Kyle didn't have the opportunity to build on that 2 for 1 10, but he decided to go down for the 3 for 1. So at a time like that, how much time do you give someone? You don't just leave it for them, right? I don't blame Eric for taking that spot. And who knows?
No,
Yeah,
I
and who
agree
knows?
with you that.
Conversation, Eric says, "Look, Kyle, I gave you the opportunity, but I kept my word. I'm taking it now, though. Like, enough time has passed." And Kyle says, "Yeah, that's fine. Do what you gotta do."
And the beauty of this right now, he has another settlement spot on the 8 wood
Yeah,
tile with a road. Or the other way, or the way he can win is by just grabbing the road.
yep. Yeah, I still think it's anyone's game. Obviously, we have a few people who are just, inching ahead of someone else. But I mean, a couple of good rolls, 1 good round, 2 good rounds, and anyone can pull this out. It's interesting to see, though, that this is a game of low development card purchases.
Yeah, that's kind of weird what we nowadays see in a Catan style of game,
Mhm.
like we or the P Elegance, which I played.
Yep.
Usually the development cards are getting wiped pretty much, and almost every game the decks might run out at some point.
Absolutely. And if not like all the cards, there's definitely one person who's kind of jumping ahead with a lot of purchase. And we're kind of finding here that everyone's pretty balanced and everyone's really focused on the points on the board.
Yeah. And Now, after this long time of the game, I think someone should have gone the way of the development cards and just grabbed those 2 points with the army. It's looking pretty safe, and that is what maybe Honie is now doing in his next turn.
Absolutely. I think he realizes the longest road is not a potential for him, especially with bjaki and Eric now clearly going after each other. And I think that's even in Honie's language earlier where he's saying to Eric and convincing Eric, hey, look, we don't want him buying development cards. And Eric kind of takes the bait of it and you know, really all Honie does is takes the attention off of it, gives himself a round or two to be able to build up to himself get a couple of development cards, right? So, and now he's basically pitted bjaki and Eric against each other.
So you can now build 1 development card and maybe put a road down. Or what would you do here in Honie's position?
I would buy the development card. I'd see what the
First, yeah.
card comes out as exactly. And it's a knight. I would probably pass. I have an open.
Okay, yeah, you have 5 cards. You don't have to place
Yeah,
down a road.
I haven't okay. He puts a road down. Yeah, I would
I
have.
think it's fine because it's a quite safe road.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. He puts a road down in a position where he doesn't lose the road. And what I mean by that is obviously no one cuts him off, no one takes a settlement spot. So he has options with this road. So
And then he still can connect to the other city and
exactly.
stealing longest road.
Yep.
So we have another 7 here. What is EB thinking? Get the players in.
Well,
Maybe
I think he
this
looks
is still
at
right, of
Honie.
course.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaving bjaki open. I don't think he's gonna have to draw bjaki though. If he can put something down this turn, I think he has to.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the
it's
thinking of
okay.
EB was taking now a card from Honie, and then that Honie plays a knight.
That's an
Maybe if he
amazing
has.
roll. Sorry to cut you off. That's an amazing roll for Eric. Eric's very happy with that.
Yeah, definitely the 10. It's
Yeah.
his way to win.
But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking that Eric's thinking was that bjaki, that Honie would place the knight on bjaki. But now it's definitely Honie's trying to steal from EB here. And trying to prevent him from winning.
Yeah, I think bjaki ends up spending his cards here, right? He has options. He's most likely going to get the settlement down on the very much needed sheep. But also it's a great spot. 9-10. He adds more production. He's getting his sheep. He's most likely going to try and trade. But I don't see Eric doing the trade at all. I think he just does the 3-for-1 exactly. Get the wheat that he needs. He settles, so he's spending his cards, and I think Eric also wants to see, okay, what did Honie get in a development card, right?
Yeah.
So he's getting Honie to spend it, and also he's kind of directing, Honie to try and distract him and say, yeah, once that settlement goes down, we need to start watching bjaki. Meanwhile, he's sitting there with endless options in his hand with 2 more rolls to go.
Yeah. And bjaki is thinking actually right now. Should he place on a 9-10 or just on a 9 sheep?
I mean, I don't feel like Kyle is is a threat. I mean, I hate to always kind of say that about a player, but in this instance, I think you're more worried about Honie and Eric, so I would take the 9-10 and create production for myself.
Yeah, I would just think about getting another production spot here.
Yeah.
So maybe, so not seeing Kyle as a threat, but thinking about himself getting another settlement spot.
Yep. Let's go to the table and see what the discussion is.
Eat the service your road.
Yeah, I mean,
Otherwise, you're just gonna kill. You're gonna kill Kyle.
go ahead and
You
kill
kill
it.
this game.
I'm kind of dead anyway, so.
Build at least roads. Or even one.
Alright, I'll do this. Fine.
Mm.
I think I'm still gonna build a road towards the 912 there.
That's fine.
Okay, so they're worried that EB is getting a road. And so they're definitely trying that bjaki keeps the road.
Yeah, how do you feel about that play? Do you like that he traded in that 3 ore for the brick?
I don't like it. I wouldn't like it as a player, but I think you have to do it right now.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even, because
Wow.
EB just needs 2 roads, and then he would have had 7 roads.
Yeah,
That
that's a
would be
big role for Eric, though. His
Yeah.
hand is stacked right now. He's got a development card, a city, and still a couple of cards left over to move towards a second city or to do whatever. So depending on what happens in this next round or two. Yeah, I think Honie has to buy a development card here. That's so as a player who's not in the road game, because clearly Honie is not in the road game here. That card is so frustrating, especially when you want to try and really secure your largest army, or you want to grab up a point. There's still another mono out there. You're definitely hoping for anything other than that ridiculous road build. For him,
But actually, he has such a flexible position that the road building might win him this game. If he gets the road.
Do you think he can take the road, though? I think they keep feeding bjaki the road in fear of Eric getting the road. If
They
anything,
would like to try, but at the moment, bjaki don't have any resources, and the others don't, especially as well roads.
I think
So
it
there's
only
the shot for Honie getting the road next turn.
Yeah, I think this really only works out for him if he's able to get 2 settlements out of it. So if he has an extra road in his hand, he's able to build a settlement, and then the extra road to get to the second settlement, right? So I think that would end up, if I was Honie, I would use the road build in that aspect to try and get myself 2 points on the board at the 6-2 and the 5-2. I'd be looking at road and thinking that I'm wasting my resources with trying to get road when I already have 2 players fighting. I'd rather just give bjaki the resources to continue him on the road path.
No, but he's actually the shot to actually close out the game right now. He's on 7 points. If he builds a settlement and gets the road, he gets 10. So I would prefer that, obviously. So I wouldn't try that helping bjaki keeping the road.
I know, but I guess that's the thing. I'm expecting bjaki to get another road put down in this next orbit, right? So I guess that's the thing too. And I think if bjaki, and there you go. See?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I predicted, and this is why I don't see Honie going after the road at all, is because I see all the players just trying to continuously give it to bjaki, who's already got the 6 down. So I would be looking at that road build to try and build out 2 points for myself.
Or the other option would be just keep it in the back, and
Yeah.
you might sneak road somehow.
Yeah.
There just needs to be some 11s and 9s rolling for him.
There's got to be discussion right now that Kyle's saying. I feel like he's He's trying to figure out, does he put the settlement down? Well, he has only 5 ore though. What's he looking to do here? Oh, he has 6 ore in total, so he can definitely 3 for 1 all of the ore and put the settlement down, but I mean, that's a really really hard pill to swallow, to have to ditch all your ore when you only collect it on
Yeah,
a
but I think he has to do it. He hasn't any chance in this game to win it, maybe. So he's just looking now for the points.
Yep. I think he has to do it to take that settlement spot away from bjaki and force him to connect his roads on the back end of the 8.
And he also blocks the settlement spot from bjaki.
Exactly. And so bjaki has nowhere else to build. So now you're not afraid of bjaki keeping road and continuously building road. As long as he can, anyways. But from the way the dice has been rolling, Eric hasn't been collecting what he needs to get the roads. So I wouldn't be surprised if Eric is kind of still swaying between road and development cards.
Oh, he might just build up straight 4 cities up. And that's enough, I think.
Yep, 2 cities and he takes it. And development cards, there's obviously still a couple of points left in the deck, so
Oh, we have 7 roads. And the 6 is blocked for Honie. Quite bad. For him. So you just pass here, right?
yeah, I think so. There's so much going on the board that it's hard. You have options, right? And like you said, if bjaki doesn't continue to build roads, it's still an option for Honie that he can keep in the back of his mind. So I think you just kind of hold. There's no point in putting another road down, especially with a road build. So
Okay.
Eric here gets the 8 that he's what does he do here? What do you think?
I would go probably buying development cards, trying to get a third knight. Placing down his knight in this turn.
Oh, he
And
doesn't
then you.
knight on his turn, so you know he doesn't have a knight.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of you know, a light at the end of the tunnel for Eric, definitely.
And that's pretty much what I think it's a safe win. What he should do now, getting the knight.
Yeah, absolutely. Just buy some development cards. You're at 8 points. You know, everyone's obviously feeding bjaki roads. So you still have a settlement spot on the 8. So buy a development card, see what you can get. And even if you get 1 city.
And there he is. Second knight.
There you go.
That's the win for him.
That is, he just needs to get the game prolonged for another round. He has to play the 1 night right now.
Yeah, I think he knows that as well. He's such a good player.
Absolutely. If we go to the table talk, he's probably negotiating with someone right now and trying to discuss where to put it.
I don't.
Difficult to follow you if you only speak half of his thoughts.
Yeah, no, I'm muttering under my breath. I'm just trying to understand why he didn't play a knight there. But
Maybe he doesn't have.
I know. I'm just trying to.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have it.
Sure
He
that
would have played it.
I think he has to. So I don't think he has a knight.
You are so smart. I don't have any.
I know.
The question is, what does he have?
Yes, 2 city cards.
Silly.
It's going to be a little unorthodox here, but I don't think can he win. He's got 8.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you were saying, that he's thinking out who's the biggest threat, who could win it in front of me.
And I think that's a great block. Even though he's blocking himself, he recognizes there's no wheat out on the board. Everyone's really desperate for it, and either Honie gets wheat, or for example, you're feeding Kyle and bjaki wheat, and there you go, a 6 rolls. I
That
don't.
time I'm wondering why he did take a card from Kyle.
Why you don't?
No, why did he take the robber card from Kyle?
Oh,
He should
okay.
have taken from bjaki.
Well, I wonder if he was trying to keep bjaki up and above, because bjaki had 8 cards in hand.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So he doesn't want to bring him down under 7, right? So I think that's why he's kind of forced to take Kyle. Yeah, if I don't think bjaki can build 2 points here, can he? Unless he does 2 pulls and it's 2 VPs, which is very likely, but also very difficult to do. I think Eric wins this round.
Let's see what is Honie coming up. There we still have to. He might still get a road, but not win it.
Yeah,
game.
but Eric wins it with the 3rd night play.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think bjaki's only hope here is to buy 2 development cards and kind of, throw it to the wind and hope for 2 VP.
Yeah.
The likelihood of him.
Or he goes for the safe option, just gets another point on the board.
Yeah,
the city.
absolutely. Because like we said, I mean, you want to end these games, especially in a league like this, with 8 or more points. And right now, bjaki's at 8. And if he can get himself to 9 points, that's an excellent comeback, considering last game he got 4. So I'm wondering what he's thinking here. I wonder if he's trying to debate those exact things and he's trying to figure out, okay, is Eric winning this round? Is he not winning this round? Does he have a night, not a night? And let's go to the table, actually. I doubt he's talking.
Protect. Yeah, we'll do that. Good. Come on, don't tell me it's gonna. Oh, wow. Oh, jeez. My heart skipped a second there.
Oh, that sucks for bjaki. I feel like, I don't blame him for doing that. Because you can't help it but wonder what you're gonna get, right? If he doesn't pull it, and he's probably was hoping for at the very least 1 VP, knowing that only 2 are out there. So he was kind of like, you take the risk. You hope for at the very least 1, but if you can get 2, but yeah, it's a little too late for a night and a year plenty.
Yeah, and he might end up now losing the road with Honie.
Yeah.
Maybe knowing that the game is over and just
absolutely
trying to get the road here.
Himself some points. Absolutely. Can he
But he doesn't have a board, 3 for 1 board.
4, 5, 6.
So
7.
he can't get it on his own.
No, he can't. Unless someone agrees to trade. If he trades away like all his wheat to someone like Kyle or something, maybe they can figure out. Let's go back to the player's audio.
Well, I guess he just played it sure he doesn't finish.
Yeah, that's good game, guys.
Yeah, that's it. All right, well there you go. Eric wins 2 in a row. Well played.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to get Eric in here shortly and have a quick chat with him. But what did you think overall of the game?
It was a brilliant game. It was everybody could have had a shot, maybe except for Kyle at the end. But during the game it was quite even, and EB pulled it off. And I think the most important one was the setup phase, where he somehow convinced Kyle not going on the 8-4.
Absolutely. I think that was the key of the entire game is getting Kyle to leave the 8-4 3-for-1 port alone and convincing him and sacrificing, I mean, ultimately a 3 brick. And if I recall correctly, on that first roll or second roll, a 3 ended up rolling and Eric was able to get that brick right back, which was honestly the best situation for him, right? You're hoping that, okay, even if I'm sacrificing this, I'll get it back real quick. So it'll be interesting to get him into the chat.
Yeah.
How what did you think there in the end? What was your opinion with bjaki kind of getting swindled into road and things like that? How did you feel about that?
Yes, that's some things you have to do, but you don't want to do it. Actually, for him, it was quite bad. Getting the road, try to keep it. Would have much preferred just building up a city and then sneaking the road at some point in the game.
Yeah, I think in the moment it was a mistake on Eric's part not to give him the settlement and kind of divert his attention to, building the roads, especially because he had the roads in hand. But I think by the end game, that mistake ended up kind of being a miracle for him, but ended up being perfect. Because he didn't end up actually getting any wood production or bricks again after that. So had he made the decision to kind of, deke bjaki out and have him buy development cards, I think the end game would have been very different, but it worked out for Eric.
Yeah, and there was the third factor, Honie as well, that he got the road building and could have gotten road.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely traded. But I believe we have Eric in. Hey, Eric. Oh, and we don't have him in. Never mind. I think we're still trying to get him in, but yeah.
It was a long game, so should be shortly here.
Yep. But I definitely I agree. If bjaki doesn't take road, even had Eric put down, I don't have the board in front of me anymore, but had he been able to put down those 3 roads initially, it would have been interesting to find out if he would have joined or if he would have prolonged the join. Because if he didn't join, then of course Honie with that road build, he takes the game because he was so close.
Hey,
Hey, Eric! Congratulations!
Hey, thanks.
Congratulations, Evie.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
that was a great match to watch.
Absolutely,
tough game, tough board, tough competition, very tough. Yeah.
What do you think?
First question from me.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Jolly.
How did you convince Kyle to not taking the 8-4? How did you do it?
I offered him. I offered him a full road. He only needed the brick, but I conveyed that he needed the wheat and had better expansion potential on the north side of the board. And I also conveyed that the 8-4 is just going to clutter both of us. Like, he doesn't have much expansion. He's going to play a flimsy or wheat sheep game probably if he settles that 8-4. It really hurts both of us. Where the 11-5 doesn't. It took away a decent spot from Honie to settle that 11-5, but he probably was going to have competition from bjaki on the 11-5. But I think it diverted attention away from me, and it cluttered the east side of the board up more, and it was beneficial for me because I pretty much had the northwest side of the board all to myself. That gave me options to long road, and ultimately with largest army, but just getting that 8-4 was key, and I was really torn. You saw me put the 11-4-6 down first, and I was just thinking, crap, do I go 8-4-3? And I think Kyle's going to race me to 8-10, that brick board. I don't want that race, and I just had to have hope that he doesn't place on the 8-4, and hopefully I was able to convince him that it's just not value adding to him and to me. Obviously, he doesn't care about me, but for himself, I think it's probably a recipe to lose, in my opinion. So I find it be tougher for him to win with putting on the 8-4. So yeah, that was the
Yeah,
thought process there.
my honest opinion is that was the key moment in the game
Yeah,
that
yeah,
really kind of tossed you ahead of everyone
yeah,
else. That one moment, because like you said,
yeah,
it opened up that entire side of the board for you. You're
yeah,
able to kind of get onto that 3-for-1, which is obviously a very valuable port.
yeah,
With all the wheat that you've got, and then you've got the freedom to go up to
yeah,
the wood port. You've
yeah.
got nothing but
That's
options.
yeah. It became very versatile, and it was a little all in on getting the 8-4, and I was nervous. It wasn't impossible. I mean, like Honie, like with place 11-9-4, I mean, it was a good placement. And clearly, his intention was to lock the board up as much as possible, not to give Kyle a 3-for-1. But at the same time, it kind of gave, it put it all in the sense that, I mean, let's say he doesn't go 11-9-4, he could have gone maybe 6, probably not 6-3-11, but he would have had all 5 resources potentially with that. And I don't know. I mean, there's situations where the board may not lock up like that. I realized that was definitely a threat. That was viable in the sense that 8-4 could be an out for Kyle, and I just didn't think it was going to be that strong for him. And just trying to divert away from that and showing him he's got potential north of the board. He's got good wheat, he's got good wood paired with his brick, and he's got more versatility. Where I think if he's got good wood on the 8-4, but he's crammed, I'm crammed. It's kind of a lose-lose, and I think more so for him.
Thing. I felt like had Kyle taken that spot, he then actually would have had versatility. I felt like he beats you to the 10, like going backwards, because he's obviously 9 brick, which was more production than the 3 in general, but so I was actually quite surprised that you were even able to kind of divert Kyle away from that spot. General.
Yeah, like I think he saw Honie set up, and he's like Honie. I think needed Army to probably win. Like it seems. I mean, I think it was narrower for him to win without Army. I thought so. I think when he saw if he goes 8-4, he's probably playing a flimsy or wheat sheep game. He's going to be competing with Honie too much, and I don't think he's got great road potential with that 8-4. He's got better road potential, I think, with the 11-5 and just building north. And I mean, he could have been a bit more aggressive, maybe to try and get the 9-10, and I may have been able to help him. I mean, it didn't line up or work out, but he had good brick and good wood where he could have gone. He had some options, and I think he saw more potential long road up there. And I agree that him not placing the 8-4 was big for me. It was a chance I took and was able to.
Another key moment was the situation where bjaki was asking for a trade, and you had the decision to make: do you give him a settlement or a development card? And
trying to remember which settlement was it?
You had 3 wood, 3.
Is that right before I settled the 10 brick? Yeah, I didn't want to help him. That's right, because I think I had a few outs to settle that 10 brick, and I hit 11. I think, but bjaki's turn, I can't remember what the situation was, but I think it was like 1 away. I was close to settling the brick port. So I think I had 3 wood, 3 brick,
3
and
brick.
I think a couple
wheat or
2 wheat maybe. Yeah, some wheat. Yeah.
So the way we view that your position at that point was having to decide even between, are you going to go roads or are you going to go development cards? And
I wanted road. I figured Honie was going to pace knights, and I didn't want to be in an army race. I felt I had better upside because the 3 was never going to be blocked. That I could get road easier. That's how I thought.
And that's why we thought it was interesting that you didn't give the settlement, because then you give Honie someone to compete against, and bjaki, and you would essentially pin the 2 of them against each other, where they would have had to basically compete. And I thought you would ask for the road and give the wheat in exchange. But it ended up.
I'd have to go back to it. Like I think I had outs to maybe. I don't know. I think at that point I was looking at road, and I think when I'd have to go back and look at that a bit more detail. But I mean,
Oh.
But I was lined up to settle that brick port, and it gave me the versatility to connect a longer road if I had to. Something that's super powerful for me. And I mean, 2 roads gets me 7, and I felt bjaki is a bit weak with trying to push road in his position, and it just like he wasn't on power. Well, I guess he had the 3 as me. I mean, he's able to keep it obviously, but I like just the concentration resource. I had to maybe push it, and I felt I had a better upside to get that. I didn't want to be in a night race, and it just like how it lined up, and the sequence of rolls. It just I had an opportunity, and it took.
Honestly.
What do you think of that play? That was like I was really grinding my teeth. If Honie was, I don't think he'd bluff, but you never know, right? And one night,
really lucked out. He ended up pulling a road build, and even Ollie and myself, we were like, "Oh, that's the worst card you're looking at in that moment, right? You're really looking to secure that larger army." And I think had he got a knight.
It'd be a much different game. I'd have to probably go all in on road or build a 10. I mean, I could have the decision where I bought the knight, and I was okay. At that decision, I could have settled for 9, or I could pace army, and I really had to have confidence that Honie didn't have a knight down. He could have held on to it because he could have just moved it off on his turn, and I could have put me in a situation where I'm in a race I don't want to be in, and like the 6 is valuable to him. I figured he would have played it, but it's possible he could have popped the knight out on his turn, and I would take army, and it would kind of destroy my outs to win.
Yeah,
but it was. I mean, but I can't remember the cards I had. I think a couple wood, 1 sheep, and a couple ore, and I had enough to either city for 9 or push army, and I said, well, I think I can push army here, and luckily I pulled the knight, and then the decision was clear. I had to move the robber to be able to take knight next turn, and blocking the 6 because I knew bjaki had ore, and blocking the 6 was just an efficient out for him. And fortunately, I guess it is fortunately a 6 did roll, so the move was a value adding, and I mean maybe he may have given him more outs to maybe win if I mean he's got at least a city I think at that point. I mean I don't know what else, but pulling that knight was big. Mm-hmm.
All right, well,
great. Thank you.
Congratulations. Amazing
You have
game.
2 wins now. You're looking quite good.
Thank you. No, a bit fortunate with how this played out, and it was all. I think that 8-4 was key. It's just going to cause me a lot of problems if I don't get that. If I don't get that 8-4, and I mean, I just got my out was to be built up to the 12-9, but the settlement, the production quality is not as great there, and it just be slower, and getting that 8-4 was key. So
I think that's was a great example of you can see you can win a game in a setup phase, or you can lose it as well.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
Congratulations with the rest of your season. And,
thank you. I appreciate it. Much appreciated. And thanks again. Thanks for having me.
Until next week. Take care.